What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of What If SportsCast.
Woo!
I'm Tim. This is Kyle,
Yeah.
and we're What If SportsCast.
Yep. Welcome back. If you caught us last week, we talked about Tom Brady. If Drew Bledsoe never got hurt, would he still be the greatest of all time?
We're in the GOAT conversation. What if Michael Jordan never retired that first time
Yeah.
after winning the first 3 championships?
Yeah. Would he be considered the greatest of all time or be in that discussion of greatest of all time?
And what would have happened? He would have came back,
Yeah.
would never retired, whatever. So, first off, would he have been the GOAT still if he stayed retired?
I personally think I'm kind of thinking no. I think it's a big debate on him being the GOAT in general, but that's a discussion for maybe another podcast.
It a little
Yeah.
to
I don't think Michael Jordan would even be considered in that conversation if he would have retired and stayed retired.
if he stayed retired, is he top 10?
Yeah, I think just
Where's he at, do you think? Just ish.
I think he'd be like top 5 still.
You don't think he's top
Yeah,
5?
I think he's still top 5, maybe not stat wise, but when I think of greatest of all time, I look at what type of player he was and how dominant he was, because stats can be misleading. I think Michael Jordan had the skills and the mindset, more importantly, that, I think that's why he is who he is today.
Yeah, I don't think he's even in that GOAT conversation. I don't think he's top 5 either, because I think even if you're in the top 5, you're kind of in that conversation. There's pretty much, obviously, it depends on who you're talking to. Pretty much there's 2 players, LeBron or MJ. Without MJ, I don't think there's really much of a discussion. Obviously, you can say Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Kobe, all these other guys as well. There's multiple people. I don't think I actually don't the top 5 probably if he stays retired.
Okay.
I know. Well, it's funny because I'm like, oh, he didn't play that much longer. He did play with the Wizards, but it's weird to say only 3 more championships.
Yeah.
But it was 3 years, 3 championships.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's in the GOAT conversation if he stays retired.
Yeah.
Let's go into kind of what we think would have happened if he wouldn't have retired at all.
Yeah.
Because they're coming off, he'd won 3 championships, coming off in his stats before retiring that last season. 32.6 points per game, 6.7 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 2.8 steals, which have been disputed. They say that they kind of stat-padded his steals a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then 0.8 blocks. Off 57 and 25, second in the East.
Yep.
Do they win another championship right off? Do they go 4 in a row?
I think they do win 4 in a row. Houston was emerging. They had Team Olajuwon, and they were a very good team. I don't think that Chicago wins both. I think Chicago.
You think they get to the finals on both?
I think they make the finals on both. But yeah, I think it would have been they would have won 1 for sure, but I think Houston would have beat them and they would still have.
So if he would have never retired, you're thinking that they're going to 8 straight finals?
I think so.
Because do you think anything would have changed in those second 3?
No.
So you think they would go 8 straight finals? You don't think the Knicks, the Magic back then, none of them?
Yeah.
Really?
No, I don't think.
Boston, nobody.
I mean, the Knicks were like emerging as well. They were good teams in the East with Chicago, but I mean, with Michael Jordan, they had no problems beating him. Had he not retired and had he been there the whole time, I don't see how things would be different. They were a completely different team with and without him.
Yeah, but you got to think like the Magic, then they're getting Shaq. They got Penny Hardaway. They're up and coming. Also, who knows what if same moves would have happened?
Yeah.
Because for the second three-peat, Dennis Rodman signed with them.
And
that's a huge
big part.
Steve Kerr was also with them. Huge part. So there's definitely some other things. And obviously the drafts would have like changed,
Yeah.
stuff like that, And so I don't think it's a lock that they go to another finals right off the bat and another one.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they wouldn't have. I just don't think it's necessarily a lock.
I think then if they didn't go to 8 straight, then I don't even know if they would get the second 3 then.
If they missed those two,
Yeah.
because then they would have traded different people and
Yeah. I think,
different stuff.
yeah, but I think they would have, because I think it would have either been like 4 straight or maybe 5 straight instead of 2 three-peats, if that makes sense. I think the biggest reason why they three-peated again was because those 2 years where they didn't make it, they're like, hey, we need to make some moves and do a few different things. We need to bring in Dennis Rodman. And then, of course, like Michael Jordan comes back and you're a completely better team.
Okay. Say Jordan is on another team that doesn't, Scottie Pippen is a Hall of Famer. Dennis Rodman as well. But the first one, Scottie Pippen he's an all-star anywhere else he's playing. I mean, obviously he's still an all-star there, but he's the number one choice anywhere else. Say he doesn't have Scottie Pippen. Are they still going to the final?
No.
Is it all Jordan or is it because of all the stuff around him as well?
I think it's all the people around him. And I think it's such a silly thing when people say that, like, oh, he did it himself or whatever, because you can't win a championship in any sport really without good players around you.
Mm-hmm.
NBA is no different. It's like people talk about Michael Jordan being the greatest of all time, but I don't think he'd have 6 championships if it wasn't for Scottie Pippen, if it wasn't for Dennis Rodman, because that's just not possible. Like NBA players, NBA teams are too good for one guy to beat you.
Honestly, it kind of reminds me of the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
A few years ago, and just how they have, because a lot of people were like, oh, it's Steph Curry and everything like that.
No.
And big part of it is,
yeah.
However, like Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, it had these other guys. And the Bulls had like BJ Armstrong and just a few different Kuchit. I don't know how to say it, Kuchit or Kuchit.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. But they had these other guys. And I think if he didn't have Pippen, I don't know. It's tough for me to say because I was alive. You weren't really alive, at least the first 3 you were. And then the second 3 you were a baby. And as you can see, I got my Bulls hat from the first 3. And I remember watching the Bulls when I was, but it's hard for me to say because I saw Jordan play, but once I started to understand, it was when he was with the Wizards, and he didn't play bad. It wasn't like he was playing bad, but he wasn't as dominant as before. But part of me thinks, is it because he didn't have those other teammates? So the thing that I'm trying to say is, I wonder if he would have even won any championships without Pippen.
Probably not.
I don't know, because that's a huge thing. And obviously you'd have somebody else in that role.
Yeah.
However, say you don't have even an all-star in that role. Can you still do that? And yes, Jordan was probably one of, if not the most clutch players ever. Do you get to that clutch spot though?
I think he'd have the same number of championships as like LeBron, because I think.
You think he still wins 4?
Yeah.
LeBron
I think
4, I'm pretty sure. Right?
I think he'd win like 3, 4 around that.
You still think that much?
I think so. Because even LeBron, like you saw it in LeBron's early year before he went to Miami.
See, I think LeBron's more dominant than MJ. I think MJ was a better scorer, more all around though. I think LeBron and MJ had more defensive, he was more defensive as well. However, it came out that a lot of people say his stats were inflated defensively. Not saying that he wasn't a bad or a good defender, because he was. I also think it's a different NBA, because I think LeBron would be just as good of a defender back then.
Well, I'm trying to look at it like without looking at stats and other teammates and just knowing who Michael Jordan was, his mentality about the game. He wanted to be the best. He was the first one in the gym, last one out kind of guy. He pushed himself to that high limit
Yeah, but if he
all the
doesn't,
time.
that's what I'm saying though. If he doesn't have another player though, it doesn't. Yeah, you could be scoring 50 points a game, but are you going to be able to win a championship? Think
would
of
just
another
think, like-
player like right now. I'm just trying to think of a player that has never won a championship that kind of is in that same, like Anthony Edwards. A lot of people say he was a lot like MJ,
Yeah.
and obviously he's still a lot younger.
Yeah.
But do you see him winning a champ? Especially like last year, yes, he took him, but
Yeah.
is he gonna make it back? I don't know.
I
They're
think I'm
definitely a
just
different
saying-
team without Carl Anthony Towns. That's a big piece.
Yeah, that is a big piece. But
I don't know
I
if he
just
practiced that much as well. I don't know if Anthony Edwards does.
I just think given Michael Jordan's work ethic and all that stuff, eventually they would have got the pieces, even if it's like him not getting one in Chicago and him having to go somewhere else like LeBron did.
You think he would have?
I think eventually, I think
if he didn't
would've.
win,
If he didn't win, and because he wants to win,
Yeah.
he wanted to win a championship, so I think he would have easily
I don't know.
left Chicago, and
It was different
Or
back
else.
then, though. They didn't move
they
as
didn't.
many and
But
stuff, and so
I mean,
don't know.
someone like Michael Jordan, I think would have. But
I don't know. Okay, if he would have stayed, well, first, do you think the Bulls struggled that much without him? Because obviously they didn't win the championships.
yeah,
However, they were still in the playoffs. They were still in, I think, semifinals on
Yeah.
both. And
I think they were a good team. They
well, in
just
93, 94, they lost to the Knicks, who ended up going to the finals.
Yep.
And then the 94, 95 season, he was back with them. But the 93, 94,
Yeah.
the full season, he was not there.
Yeah.
Third in the East, they're 55 and 27. So they lose 2 more games than the year before without Jordan.
Yeah, but they lost.
I
They
understand
lost
that. There's also a huge controversy in game 5 of that series against the Knicks, which is to go up 3-2 going back to Chicago. Hugh Hollins made a terrible call. I don't know if you've ever or if you've seen the clip. He made a terrible call. Scottie Pippen, they said he a foul. I can't remember who was shooting. Fouled him on the shot.
Yeah.
Then Chicago was up by 1, 2.1 seconds left. Pippen fouls him, which
Yeah.
not even close. Goes to the free throw line, beats Chicago. They go up 3-2. Chicago ends up tying it up 3-3, and then losing. In
Yeah. I think Bulls would be like maybe not even contender. I think they'd be a solid playoff team, but they didn't have that player that put them over the edge. I think
I
Seems
still
like
think
New York and
obviously they lost.
Orlando were just beating them.
I don't think it was year though, like or harder the year before. I think that Jordan, yes, obviously, if you take Jordan off of the team. However, the 93-94 team, even though they didn't win the championship, proves that they still had an amazing team. That year, Scottie Pippen, BJ Armstrong, and Forrest Grant, all stars on Chicago.
Yeah.
So not like you go from losing this guy, like the Nuggets right now. You lose Jokic. I don't know if you're a playoff team.
Yeah.
These guys still have 3 All-Stars, making third in the East,
Yeah.
and are really one call away from possibly making it back to the conference finals.
Mhm.
I can't remember who New York beat that year. Say they beat them again. They're in Houston against the finals again.
Yeah. But
It's
I don't think they would have beat Houston though. Like there's no way. Without MJ? No.
The thing with Houston was all Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah.
That was the biggest.
Yeah.
And then Ralph Sampson as well. I
Yeah.
believe he was on both those teams. And so it was the big guys. It wasn't Jordan's not guarding Hakeem Olajuwon.
No.
So I think that's the biggest thing
Yeah.
then. So obviously you're missing something
Mhm.
without Jordan. I don't think you look at those Chicago Bulls teams and it's like, oh, they sucked. They're terrible.
Yeah, I'm not saying these.
I think a lot of people do. They're like, oh, they didn't win.
Yeah.
Whatever. but it wasn't like they were still competitive. The year that Jordan came back, they're 47-35, which is fifth in the East. They dropped off. Jordan came back to the last 17 games.
Yep.
They were 13-4 with Jordan. Those last ones, they were 34-31 without. Just above 500. They finished fifth in the East. Sixth in the East is Cleveland, 43-49.
Yeah.
So then you go 9-8 in those last 17 games without Jordan. Say Jordan's not there. You're still at fifth in the East.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're gaining that much. Obviously, 13-4 over 7 games is a lot greater. So if he played the whole season. However, people don't look at that season and be like, oh, Jordan lost.
Yeah.
They don't. Some people, I bet you, exactly. I bet you people don't even realize that Jordan played.
Yeah.
Some people.
Yeah.
They look at that and they're like, oh, yeah, that was without Jordan. No, Jordan's on that team, and he played 17 games before the playoffs, which obviously it's not a full season. However,
some people might say he should be more rested then.
Exactly.
Like he should be even better.
And they lost.
But
that's where I think it's just the right pieces around him at the right times is a big part of it. Obviously, I think he's the top 2 player ever.
Mm-hmm.
However, without certain players and certain people, I think Scottie Pippen took a very big backseat.
Yeah.
And he was okay with that at the time. There's definitely some turmoil now.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he is who we see him to be now. Like stats, everything like that. But how dominant the Bulls were.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see Jordan with that. Like, say he comes back and goes to a different team. I don't know how free agencies worked and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Bulls still paid him when he was retired. The Bulls still paid him.
Yeah, I wanted to get into that because that whole situation, I never even realized that the Bulls still paid him, which makes me think I'm not really a conspiracy believer, but there is a lot of conspiracy that Michael Jordan's retirement was really not a retirement. It was more a suspension. Those of you that know, Michael Jordan was huge into gambling, has a huge gambling addiction, and it didn't matter what you were betting on, golf, anything, he was making. If there was a bet, then he was going to make it.
I remember hearing a story, and he was an ex-Bulls player, that they would bet on whose bag would come out first. And I guess he would throw tips to the guys down low to make sure his bag came out.
Exactly. So it's just it's stuff like that is insane to me. So it's he was gambling, like I said, on golf cards, other games, other just stupid things, in the locker room. Hey, I bet you I can make this in the trash can or something like that. Or this penny, I think I saw a story, throw a coin and whoever gets closest to the door wins. But and
they did that on the documentary.
Yeah.
You got to see all of it. And that was really cool. I think it showed how competitive he really is about stuff. I know people are going to come at me and say, how do you not think Jordan all this? And I do. I think Jordan was amazing. I do. I put LeBron ahead of him. However, we'll talk about that a little later, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think he was so dominant and just so competitive, and that kind of is what fueled him,
showed it.
Said. And I mean, it showed in his 4th game back, that 94-95 season. He scored 55 points.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, 4th game back, he had a game winner. 5th game back, he scored 55 points. That's what the gambling thing is very interesting because why would the Bulls still pay? Even though you're suspended, I'm pretty sure you don't get paid anyways.
Yeah.
But why would the Bulls still pay him when he retired? However, the owner of the Bulls also owned the White Sox.
Yeah.
Who Jordan played
in
their minor league.
Yep.
So was there something with that?
Yeah.
Hey, if you pursue this, because he's obviously selling crazy ticket sales.
Yep.
We'll still pay you, or is it because he won 3 championships?
I think it all goes into it. The only thing, so here's the reason that I can think of why the NBA would want to, hey, we'll suspend you instead of it not like, or
Coming public.
yeah, not publicly saying you're suspended, because at that time, Michael Jordan was the face of the NBA.
Oh, for sure.
NBA had never been as popular as it was. NBA was just starting to become like this global thing. Before it was just in the United States, but Michael Jordan was bringing them globally. So why would you suspend your face?
Well, it was right after the 92 Dream Team as well.
Exactly.
And so,
but you needed to nip betting. Like, you needed to kill that. If that was a thing, you needed that to end, because the NBA would probably not even be a thing. Your face of the league is betting on games. Then your scrub that plays 1 minute a game, I'm going to bet on games too. And if you lose the integrity of the game, there will be no league.
thing with me, I don't think he was suspended, because who knows how many people would have known. Say 10 people. I still think it's going to get leaked somehow. And that's where, that it's never gotten leaked. Yeah, there's rumors about it.
Yeah.
But it's never really gotten leaked. So that's where
I think
it's weird timing.
It just doesn't time right with Michael Jordan's father passing away. He was Michael Jordan, James Jordan. James Jordan was murdered July 23rd, 1993. Michael Jordan retired October 6th, 1993. Michael Jordan was open of how much he struggled with his father's passing, which is understandable. And I think it was always his dad's dream to make the MLB. So I think just the timing of his father passing away and just everything that was going on, I think it makes more sense that it was actually just a retirement. Had his father not passed away, then yeah, I'd definitely be
more skeptical.
But
I think it was weird when he retired too. October 6th, 1993, right before the season started. It kind of screwed Chicago, I'm sure, because free agency was already done. Obviously, you can make some trades and stuff. Huge, you know. Maybe it's because he won 3 championships. Nobody really, I don't know at the time, because I don't really remember the time, but nobody talked about that either.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because he came back and won the 3 championships.
Maybe. And maybe that's why he felt like, I've won 3 in a row already. Like, I'm going to go do this for my dad, and I'm going to go play baseball. But real quick, I want to take a pause. I want to shout out to Avo. Avo is a sports betting tool and site that is helping thousands of people win hundreds of money, thousands of money a month. They have a lot of cool tools, arbitrage, EV plus betting, middle opportunities. I will have a link in the description. You can use that to go sign up.
Definitely check out the link. Go check out Avo.
If you were like Michael Jordan and you like gambling, then definitely use that.
This is for you. Kyle uses
it. Yeah, I like it. Oh.
It's great.
But yeah.
So he was playing baseball. Do we think he ever could have made the major league?
I personally think he would have made the major leagues, but it wouldn't have been how Michael Jordan wanted it to be. I think he was a decent baseball player, but he wasn't like off the charts. His stats were kind of like,
especially for a double-A player.
Yeah.
202.
Yeah. For
a double-A player, that's not amazing. I feel like, I mean, it's not bad, probably. I don't think that gets you moved up.
The biggest thing with Michael Jordan is strikeouts. His strikeout total led the team in his minor leagues, and a strikeout rate is a huge thing for MLB teams to look at. Is, hey, if your strikeout rate is high, then you can't get on base, you can't steal, you can't.
Do you know what an average strikeout rate for a major leaguer right now?
You want to be anything under like 20%. If you're like over 20%, you're pretty bad.
So major leaguers right now, some of the top ones, they're around like 2-3%.
No, well, or some of them. I mean, some people like he like rarely strikeouts.
So he's probably around that 2 to 3%.
I know about two or three, but I don't know the number for sure. But because you got to think like how many. takes your total at bats. So you're getting 4
But if
at-bats.
you hit 20, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not in it.
Unless you're adding other stuff, which Michael
Like
Jordan
home
just
runs, different
wasn't
things,
really
you know.
doing. Like, because you'll have like players that have high strikeout rates, they'll give you 30 home runs a year, something like that. So it's like that you'll take. Or hey, like you strike out a lot, but you're a really good
Or like a
fielder.
lot of stolen base, different stuff
Yeah.
like that.
So Michael Jordan, his best stat was probably stolen bases. He had 30 in 1994. He did have a high like stolen base catch rate, which some teams, it depends on the team, they could just nix you on, hey,
Because
getting caught too much, stop stealing.
he had 30 caught 18 times.
Yeah, which is kind of a lot. So there's a possibility that had he stayed, then the White Sox would have been like, hey, you're getting caught too much. If you continue to get this like catch rate, then we're just gonna nix it. We're not gonna steal anymore because you're hurt. It's more than your helps. So I think Michael Jordan's ceiling, if he would have stayed MLB, and I think it would have been like a pinch hitter / like pinch runner.
But do you think that's because of his stats, or do you think that's because of his name? So let's bring him in as a pinch hitter where we don't have to, or pinch run. Yes, obviously it is because they want that spot.
I think he would have been brought up just because of his name. And
they will bring
up his name just to sell jerseys, and we'll keep him around for a couple of years. And
because if he gets brought up to the majors, it's kind of like how Tim Tebow was a few years ago. He never got brought up to the majors.
Yeah.
However, I worked the minor league and heard like different minor league stadiums and stuff when he was in there. Every single time Tim Tebow, we were sold out. Didn't matter how our team was doing, their team. Tim Tebow's there, you're selling. We're putting extra security because of that. I was Tim Tebow's bodyguard, which is hilarious. It's huge, you know, but I don't know. Not like he played bad ever.
Yeah.
But was he really worth that spot kind of thing?
It's also like, that's also saying that Michael Jordan was not going to be like every single day in with the training staff and of trying to get better at breaking balls, trying to like lower that strikeout rate. If he fully like invested his time to, hey, I'm going to be the best at MLB, he probably would have, and he probably would have better stats, and his ceiling would have been higher.
You don't think he did for that year?
No, I don't think so.
Do you think his plan was always to come back and play basketball?
I think so. Because
he really wasn't retired for that one. However, the MLB strike happened, and there is stuff that said that he never wanted to be called up to the MLB and be a replacement player when it was on strike. So a lot of people say that's why he's baseball and he came back.
Which, so maybe if that strike never happened, Michael Jordan may have not gone back to the NBA. So you never really know. And I think if Michael Jordan stayed there, MLB would have got more shoe deals. Like maybe Michael Jordan's like basketball shoe brand would have never really taken off, and Nike would have went more MLB instead of NBA.
I think he would have made a major league team, but I don't think it was because of his stats at all. I don't think it was stolen bases. Don't think it was his hitting, pinch hitting, whatever. Because I think that there was better people. And obviously, the more you play, the better you get. So you could, but he's looked at, he's getting more opportunities as Joe Schmo over here that's been playing baseball for 10 straight years.
Exactly.
And stuff like that. So, I don't think it's necessarily he was the worst player. I think it's very similar to Tim Tebow. I don't think he was worse. I think he was given more opportunities than somebody
just
in his
because
same
of who he
position
was.
because of who he was.
Yeah.
And so,
But
that's
I want to look at though, like, so let's, in an alternate reality, let's pretend that Michael Jordan stayed in MLB, and we got to look at the ripple effects that would have in the NBA if Michael Jordan never came back. So in 93, 94, Houston's probably still winning that championship. Do you agree?
Remember Jay never came back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because
Yeah.
it wasn't back anyway.
That happened in real life. It would be the same. 95, 96, Bulls still probably a mid-tier playoff team. They lost to the Magic. Still probably like lose. Magic ended up
I
playing
think
the
I can see
Sonics.
Houston still winning.
Yeah.
I don't think it's different.
Yeah. I'm saying like the year after Houston.
I'm
So
saying
Houston won. Yeah, Houston won 2 years, and then
So,
the year
so
after
you're saying the
Houston.
95, 96.
Yeah. So I think Magic probably play like the Sonics. Sonics were emerging. Magic probably win.
I think Utah's a big one too.
Yeah.
In that
Utah
series.
was always up there. And then
There was also turmoil in Orlando. I don't know exactly when it started, but with Shaq and Penny Hardaway, if that would have never started, I think they would have won a championship at some point.
And then
I think that was a big thing. I also don't think Dennis Rodman ever got to Chicago.
I agree.
And so I think Chicago, I still think that they're a playoff team and I think they could contend. However, I think as the years progress, as it gets a little further and further each year, I think they go down more.
Yeah.
I think they just continue to go down because,
Yeah.
and that's where I think they did so good that year after was because they still have a lot of those pieces.
Yeah.
But I think they just kind of degress as time goes.
Yeah.
And like I said, you're having Dennis Rodman there. It's kind of like the LeBron effect as well. People want to play with you because you're the best player. Yeah. And so I don't think you're getting some of the other free agents as well.
I think the biggest thing that would have happened if Michael Jordan stayed retired is that rebuild that started in 1999. I think it would have started a couple of years earlier, maybe in 97, because they would have lost at that point.
I can see even before that. I don't think Scottie Pippen stays as long as he.
Yeah. So then that's like interesting. Say they start the rebuild before the 96 season starts. 96 is when Kobe entered the league.
Yeah, but Kobe was different too because it's not like he was a number 1 draft pick, or number 2, number 3. He was 13th, I believe. And so it's hard. We know what Kobe became. So obviously we're like, oh, hey, they could have got Kobe.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
You don't know for sure, but.
And that's the same thing we talked about last week with Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. Obviously, oh my gosh, they could have got Kobe. They could have got Tom Brady. You don't know what they are at that time. I also think Kobe, it helped him when Shaq came as well, because Shaq was the most dominant player in the league at that time. Yeah. And so obviously that helped propel him in his first few seasons. They win 3 championships.
Yep.
Exactly.
And then the rest was history.
Exactly.
Yeah, which I could even see, if Magic do win a championship, maybe, like you said, Shaq stays in Orlando, and then him and Penny Hardaway create a dynasty.
Exactly. And I think that's what they were kind of planning, and it just didn't happen.
And then, all the drama happened, and Shaq's like, peace, I'm out.
Exactly. I don't think the Bulls, I'm not going to say ever, obviously. Yeah. Who knows, 10, 15 years down the road. I don't think in the 90s they win another championship.
Yeah.
I do think, like I said, especially a year after, there's a second year after, they still are contenders for at least a few more years. Mm. But I do think they just decline slowly.
Yeah.
They don't end what they are now, just so dominant in the night.
I think they would have, I think they'd be a better team now. I think if Michael Jordan never would have retired or came back, because I think Bulls, they would have still been like a bad team for longer. So eventually I think they could be better.
Yeah, but you got to think with Derrick Rose, Noah back then, they were a contender. I think they made it to the conference finals. Derrick Rose, he was the youngest MVP ever. It's not like they ended up have been sucking ever since.
That is true.
And so I don't know if it necessarily now it matters as much. Yeah. I think, 15, 20 years ago, okay, it might have been a little different because they would have gotten those better draft picks. Yeah. They would have been picking earlier. Yep. supposed to work that way where you're getting better players, obviously. That. So I don't think they would have been as bad for as long right after because of that. Here's a funny thing. Do you think they would have won a 4th championship if they would have stayed together?
I think they would have.
You think so?
Yeah.
Because Jordan retires again.
Yeah.
Scottie Pippen goes to Houston, very slow or low.
Yeah.
And then he goes to Portland.
Well,
they're older.
Maybe not, actually.
Steve Kerr goes to San Antonio. If you win 4 in a row, but you win San Antonio, that's right when like Tim Duncan, David Robinson, they're playing together.
Yeah, I don't know. You're probably right.
It's interesting.
They probably wanted to. I think that was a perfect, like.
I wish they would have gotten a chance to run it back just to see.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, why you win 3 championships? Why are you breaking?
I don't know. That's always.
It doesn't matter, money, whatever. You win 3 championships in a row. Why are you trying to break stuff?
When I was watching the Last Dance documentary, I never understood that. I was like, because I thought the same thing. He's like, why are you trying to break up something that is working so well? If it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, you don't need to do this. But yeah, I think it was weird how it all like ended. It was also just like literally right after they had just won. It's like they were at the parade and they're like, oh yeah, we're actually gonna trade everybody.
Yeah,
and
peace. Phil Jackson, you're out. Go to LA and win 3 more championships right there.
It's just weird, like the timing of it all, and it made no sense to me.
Yeah. There's so many what ifs within the what if of Jordan.
And that's what makes it so much fun.
We could talk about it for so long.
Yeah.
But once he retired, I would say probably 50-50 right now. Maybe it's a little bit more towards Jordan, but I think it depends on the generation you ask too, because if you were more into basketball when Jordan played, you're going to say Jordan. If you're more into basketball in the last 10, 15 years, you're probably going to say LeBron with the go. Yeah. It's kind of crazy looking at the final stats of Jordan compared to LeBron now.
Yeah.
And even before Jordan retired the first time, he was 42nd in points. Yeah. Which obviously he played 3 more championship seasons and a few seasons with the Wizards and stuff. And so there was a lot more basketball that he played. He played another about 16,000 after he came back that first time. But it's kind of crazy to think that he would have been 42nd in points, not top 50 in minutes, not top 50 in rebounds, not top 50 in assists, 20th in steals, not top 50 in blocks, not top 50 in turnovers.
Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy.
Like, when I saw the 42nd in points, knowing how good of a scorer Michael Jordan would be, like that blew my mind.
He was in that time, he was a 3-time NBA champion, 3-time finals MVP, 3-time NBA MVP, 1 defensive player of the year, 1 rookie of the year, 7-time scoring leader. Yeah. Which is crazy. That goes into the points. 3-time steals leader, 7-time All-NBA, 6-time defensive first. Yeah. That's a Hall of Fame career right there. Yep. Not I don't think a top 5 team ever. Yeah. But that is a Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
After he came back, after all said and done, now, at the time he was higher, but now he's 5th in point. Yep. 32,222. 30th in minutes, which is still lower than I would think. Yeah. But he's at 41,000 minutes. But still, this is crazy to me. Not top 50 in rebounds, not top 50 in assists, not top 50 in blocks.
Yeah.
You're the greatest of all time. You're not top 50 in all those. And obviously, like I said, the minutes he did play less than like LeBron and Kobe.
Yeah.
But I think you go to 6 championships, you win 6 championships. Yeah. I think that is the biggest thing that people see. It's like, yes, he is the GOAT because he did that.
I think we debunked that, I feel like, by saying that he didn't do it alone. And that's what, like, everybody always brings up, like, well, look at how many people had to help LeBron. It's like, people had to help Mike too.
Exactly.
It's like, they don't understand that.
It wasn't like Jordan is playing with all these scrubs.
No.
He had nobody else.
Yeah.
Is that the year after he first retired? They had 3 All-Stars on that team.
Yeah.
Not like Scottie Pippen, the greatest second top player on their team ever.
He was probably a 5 player in the league, maybe
At that time?
at that time.
Yeah.
I was like,
Minimum top 10.
I
I would say
hope-
top 5.
I kind of hope people like, obviously we want people's opinion, but I kind of hope that we get some,
I
like,
guarantee you people are not
drama
going to do
and, like,
yes.
some comments going that's saying like, oh, well, LeBron is the best because of XXX. Like,
And people say
obvious.
Kobe and different stuff.
Yeah.
Too. Kobe had Shaq, man.
yeah,
He had Shaq, the best big man possibly ever,
yeah,
especially at that time.
yeah,
But it's like, here's some other things. So that's how MJ finished. LeBron, obviously, he's still playing. He is first in minutes played, which obviously that helps other.
Yeah.
However, he's this old and still putting this stuff.
Yeah.
And in an NBA where you see the like all-stars, these top players, it's so much because of rest and stuff. He doesn't. He flips.
Yeah.
First in minutes, first in points, which now a lot of people never thought that was going to, Kareem was going to just take it. I don't see anybody ever beating Jordan's because of how long he's played and what he's still doing.
Yeah.
Who knows when he's going to retire?
Never.
He's 26th in rebounds, which, okay, 4th in assists.
Yeah.
4th in assists, 6th in steals. He's not top 50 in blocks, but I believe he's only like 100 blocks away, so he might get up there.
Yeah.
Biggest thing for drawback from him is he's first in turnovers.
So again, that goes into how many minutes.
It does, but that goes into of like some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
I think is he's almost like a point guard.
Yeah.
MJ didn't bring the ball up every single time.
No.
LeBron very rarely does not bring the ball up. So I think you see this. Most of the top turnover guys are point guards who they have the ball in their hand the most.
Exactly.
LeBron, you have the most. Switching over to Kobe, he was 8th in minutes over total, 4th in points, not top 50 in rebounds, not top 50 in blocks, 36th in assists, 16th in steals, 6th in turnovers.
Yeah.
If Jordan and Kobe played the exact same minutes as LeBron, I still think LeBron's stats are better than both of theirs.
Yeah.
All around. Points, scoring, I would give it to both. I would give it to Kobe. I'd give it to Jordan.
Yeah. All
Strictly
around.
Yeah. All around. I think, does Jordan make his team? Yes, to a point. I think LeBron makes the best basketball decision, and he gets scrutinized for this. The best calculated basketball decision he makes every time. It doesn't matter if it's him in the clutch or if, hey, somebody's wide open. No, I'm giving it to them. I don't think Jordan did that as much. He was more of an instinctive killer where he wanted to, hey, it's mine.
Yep.
I'm winning or losing it. It wasn't necessarily the best basketball play, even though we hear about all the times that it worked out.
Yeah.
You never hear about the shot that he's missed. I don't know how many buzzer beaters he missed.
Yeah.
I guarantee you he has missed some. We don't hear him.
Yep.
And I think it does also nowadays with social media, just the media in general, you're more scrutinized. I would have loved to see them actually, obviously, played together right at the end of Jordan's career, right at the end of LeBron's. It'd be great to see them parallel. I think it reminds me, I think it would have been a lot like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I agree.
So,
but yeah, I agree with everything that you said. I'm also on like the LeBron side. I think he is the greatest of all time.
Hey, I know people are going to, I hope people comment, I know we're going to be getting texts and different stuff about
we've kind of done like 2 different things, like the greatest of all time talk. And then we also talked about like what if MJ never retired, but yeah, definitely comment. Let us know what you think.
And we could keep going forever. as you can tell, very passionate about
Yeah.
this. I've talked to a lot of people about this,
Yeah.
just different stuff. Like I said, I am not taking anything away from me. MJ, I think he was amazing.
Mhm.
Dude, I got a Bulls hat. I
Yeah.
mean, as a kid, I remember loving MJ. I still,
Yeah.
obviously, I love
too.
the Nuggets more. I have a picture, and I think this was before. I don't know if you probably were alive at this point, because I think it was late 90s. I have this picture where me and some cousins, and I don't believe you're in. I have a Nuggets pajamas. It was for Christmas. I have Nuggets pajamas. All the rest of them have Bulls, Michael Jordan pajamas.
So,
That just tells you right there that he was everything.
yeah.
He was so polarizing, just the charisma, everything.
Yeah.
However, hey, I stayed strong. Yeah, I got this ad,
Yeah.
but I stayed strong with my Nuggies, even though rough
That's a tough
times.
time for sure.
Yeah, like Kyle said, let us for sure. And
Yep.
if you have any other what ifs you want us to tackle,
Yeah.
we're doing them. We have so many in our mind that we want
Yeah.
to do. We'll probably have some guests on.
Yep.
People that were more in the era
Yeah.
could help.
Tell like firsthand, like, oh yeah, this was what was going on. So, but yeah,
That's all we have. Anything else?
no, I just like Tim said, we're super pumped about what the channel is now and what we're doing. But
So
yeah,
much fun. And just, we were talking about before this, just for research,
yeah,
there was stuff that and I'm sure
exactly.
there will be stuff that we know
Yeah,
almost everything about, that once we start looking into it more, wow, that's kind of crazy. And I'm
Yeah.
sure, I hope that helps some of you as well. Just, wow, kind of crazy.
yeah. We hope that this like brought up old memories of maybe watching Michael Jordan or anything like that.
Both of them are going to be beat by Jokic. Jokic will be the go soon. Very soon. We hope you guys have a great week and enjoyed the show. We'll talk to you later. Peace.